We have Smiti, who's going to be talking about the decoding recognition. So Smiti, glad to have you here. Welcome you on board. Thank you.
What time's the flight?
Thank you. Am I audible? I hope I'm audible to everyone. Great. So before I begin, I want to wish everybody a very happy International HR Day. I think it's an amazing day for all of us today. And can we have a round of applause for everybody in this room? Amazing. So this day reminds us how important it is for any organization to have a kick-ass HR team. And sorry for my language here, but I think everyone here, especially post the pandemic, the entire HR fraternity has done such a fabulous job in spite of things like the Great Resignation, in maintaining the peace of mind for everybody. So that's an amazing thing everyone has done here. All right, so on to my topic today. I only have 10 minutes and I want to do 2 questions post that, so I'll be really, really quick. I am going to today talk about a quick workshop around how do you really decode recognition, how do you really drive the right strategies, especially today in like a hybrid workforce setup where half of us are working from home, half of us are working from office, some are working on the field, so a little bit around that. So really quickly, today I'm going to split my entire conversation in just 4 parts. First is, if you want to build a successful recognition culture, you need to first identify your employee needs. Second, you need to execute those needs. Thirdly, you need to identify the right kind of responsibilities for everybody to execute that in the right manner. And lastly, once the entire execution is completed, how do you analyze and how do you ensure that the right ROI has been created from your entire strategy and the program itself. So first I'm going to talk quickly about how do you identify what your employees need in the organization to build like a recognition culture. So I always come to Maslow's hierarchy of employee engagement. This is like my favoritist pyramid after Egypt's pyramids of Giza. So here, typically if you look at it, after you move from your survival to security, in an organization, when you feel that you're here to survive versus you feel that you're more secure in your organization, the third piece is where you feel that you belong in your company, and the fourth piece is where you actually start feeling that you're important in your organization. And importance, and I've put an arrow there, importance is where the benefit itself, the benefit of driving recognition comes in place, where when you're recognizing somebody for their good work, when you're recognizing somebody for something which they have done, I, as an employee, start feeling that I'm a vital part of the business, my contributions matter in the organization, and that, if you also look at it, importance is where an employee really becomes engaged. That is how important recognition is in any organization to drive a high level of employee engagement, and that's how you correlate employee engagement with recognition itself. And of course, the highest level of engagement is self-actualization, when you don't really crave recognition that much, but you try to build a culture in which you are recognizing other people, you are kind of encouraging them to do their best. So how do you execute your employee needs? Now you've understood that what your employee needs exactly. The execution can be done in 4 ways, and that's how I divide it usually. The first is your day-to-day recognition, second is formal, third is informal, and the fourth is approval-based. What do you mean by that? I'm quickly going to talk about those. A day-to-day recognition strategy is literally, like the name suggests, day-to-day. So anything like your daily birthdays, anniversaries, any sort of celebratory gifting versus any activities which you're driving in your company, those come under your day-to-day recognition. Interestingly, these are not related to any KRAs. These are things which just happen on their own. So here, in spite of whether you are a high performer or not, you are guaranteed to get a day-to-day recognition if you're participating in something which the organization is running. The second is your formal recognition. Formal is exactly opposite to day-to-day, where you are actually driving objectives, criteria, it's target and KRA based. So it's fairly structured in nature, and typically what larger organizations do is they divide their entire budgets into, say, virtual budgets. The managers get certain amounts which they can then distribute as awards to their employees or their subordinates. For, say, mid-sized organizations, a lot of organizations take that approach in which they, have like a centralized budget which the HR team handles, and then it's further distributed to the employees. The third here is your significant award for a significant achievement. It is interesting because these are awards where you are kind of awarding the employee for going above and beyond the call of duty if they've done something extraordinarily brilliant, and that's where you are awarding them, like maybe a CEO award or maybe an Employee of the Year kind of an award. The third is, I think I skipped a slide. Yeah, the third is informal recognition. So in informal recognition, primarily, it is very peer-to-peer based, and why it is important, I'll just tell you about it, because when you're driving an informal recognition, you're enabling peers, irrespective of hierarchy, to drive recognitions for each other. And this not only makes you feel that you've done a great job, it also drives another feeling of belongingness, which in my previous slides under the Maslow's hierarchy was another engagement factor itself. So peer recognitions is important, especially in a social forum where people who are seeing that the person is getting recognized, they are also getting excited about it, that hey, this is the path to growth in my organization. And the last is, of course, approval based. This is kind of rare, but it's done in a lot of organizations where you don't give the entire autonomy to the manager to actually award, but you are driving certain approvals post which the awards actually go through. Here, interestingly, it is important to keep it simple. We once had a client who did like 12 approval systems after nominations, and naturally they had to change it like in a week after launch. So it is really important to have it at a maximum of 2 or 3 approval levels, after which the awarding can go through. Now, once you've actually understood how do you execute it, how do you divide the responsibilities among people? Now here I come to the most important piece, which is around the fact that recognition is not an HR team's job. While they will be executing it, it is really, really important for the leadership and for the management to actually be involved and drive it in the right manner. Because let's face it, culture starts at the top. Leaders need to walk their talk and not just talk their talk. Another thing which leaders can focus on, and I know this entire room is full of leaders, is around not lumping recognition with criticism. You recognize in public, but you criticize in private, and that is what really drives the right parameters for an individual to grow in the organization. For the management, it is really important to make it personal. As a manager, it is important that you personalize your recognition. If I'm a manager and I'm awarding like 50 people with one single standardized message, you did a great job, it doesn't mean anything. It has to be personalized. It needs to entail why you are really doing it, so that the person understands the behavior and then is able to replicate it, and others are able to do it as well. And you all know that people leave their managers, they don't leave their companies in most cases. So I think management role is the most important which comes out here. Lastly, how do you analyze it? You've executed a great program. How do you know whether it's working? So for recognition, I primarily talk about 3 major things. One is around, if you've given a budget, or if you're driving a budget via managers, are they really utilizing it? Or are they sitting on those budgets and they're on maybe trips or wherever, and their teams are not getting recognized? So budget utilization is the first predicament of ensuring that your recognition program is working. Second is, of course, the redemption. If you've actually given rewards to employees, anyhow, points, vouchers, whatever, I mean, are they actually using it? Are people really, really utilizing what rewards you've given them? At that particular point, the redemption rate also becomes really important. And my favorite is taking feedback on exit interviews. I saw this talk yesterday where one of the gentlemen, Devendra, he said that we also do a stay-in interview, not just an exit interview, where we take feedback while people are here in the organization. But the same thing can be applied for an exit interview, because an exit interview is when an employee is the most unabashed, right? They'll tell you exactly what is going wrong with your policy, which they might not when they are in the organization. So that really helps you drive a better recognition culture within the company as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much it from my end. I still have time for 2 questions. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to have a conversation here. If you need help in terms of driving recognition culture, it's not a sales pitch, but we have a booth here. So you can actually come by the Advantage Club booth and we can help you create a policy, pro bono, no strings attached. You don't have to partner with us, but we can help you drive a better culture. So thank you so much, guys. That was my time. And if there are any questions, would love to hear it.